Good evening. My name is Amrata Chaudhary, and I am here to speak about Indian academic system and possible ways to change it. Education has been a problem in our country, and lack of it has been blamed for all sorts of evil for hundreds of years. Even Rabindranath Tagore wrote lengthy articles about how Indian education system needs to change. Funny thing is that from colonial times, few things have only changed. We have established IITs, IIMs, law schools, and other institutions for excellence, and students now routinely score 90% marks, and then even students with 90 plus percentage find it difficult to get into colleges of their choice. But we do more of the same old stuff. Rote learning still plagues our system, and students study only to score marks in exams and sometimes to crack exams like JEE, IIT, AIMS, etc. The colonial masters introduced education systems in India to create clerks and civil servants, and we have not deviated much from that pattern till today. If once the youngsters prepared an EMAS for civil services and bank officers exams, they now prepare to become engineers. If there are a few centers of educational excellence for each of those, there are thousands of mediocre and terrible schools, colleges, and now even universities that do not meet minimum standards. If things have changed a little bit somewhere elsewhere, things have sunk into further inertia, corruption, and lack of ambition. Creating a few more schools or allowing hundreds of colleges and private universities to mushroom is not going to solve the crisis of education in India. And the crisis it is, we're in a country where people are spending their parents' life savings and borrowed money on education, and even then not getting standard education and struggling to find employment of their choice. In this country, millions of students are victim of unrealistic, pointless, mindless rat race. The mind-mumbling competition and rote learning do not only crush the creativity and originality of millions of students every year, it also drives brilliant students to commit suicide. So let's explore something else on this one. How we should change the way of education system in India. What needs to be fixed at the earliest? Here are my wish list. First thing is focus on skill based education. Our education system is geared towards teaching and testing knowledge at every level as opposed to teaching skills. Give a man a fish and you'll feed him one day. Teach him how to catch fishes and you'll feed him for a lifetime. That's a very popular quote. I believe that if you teach a man a skill, you'll enable him for a lifetime. Knowledge is largely forgotten after the semester exam is over. Still, year after year, education system of India focus on cramming information. The best crammers are rewarded by the system. This is one of the fundamental flaws of our education system, and it needs to be fixed at the earliest. Get smarter people to teach, of course. For way too long, teaching has become the sanctuary of the incompetent. Teaching jobs are until today widely regarded as safe, well paying, risk free, and low pressure jobs. Once a teacher told me to high school, well, if you guys don't study, it's entirely your loss. I'll get my salary at the end of the month anyway. These are some of the proverbs you get to hear on a daily basis. He could not put across the lack of insensitive of being good at teaching any better. Thousands of terrible teachers all over India are wasting valuable time of young children every day all over India. It is a high time to encourage a breed of superstar teachers. The internet has created this possibility. The performance of a teacher now need not be restricted to small classrooms. Now the better teacher will be more popular and acquire more students. That's the way of the future. We need leaders, entrepreneurs in teaching positions, not salaried people trying to hold on their mantle. Now, the third thing that goes is implement massive technology infrastructure for education. India needs to embrace internet and technology if it has to teach a huge amount of population, the majority of which is located in remote local villages. Now that we have computers and internet, it makes sense to invest in technological infrastructure that will make access to knowledge easier than ever. Instead of focusing on mechanisms that can actually take the wealth of human knowledges to the masses. The tools for this dissemination will help to make access to cheap smartphones, tablets, computers, and high-speed internet connection. With all these are becoming more possible than ever before, there is a lot of innovation yet to take place in this space. Now, fourth point goes like redefine the purpose of Indian education system. So our education system is still a colonial education system geared towards generating babas and non-pushers under the newly acquired skin of modernity. We may have the most number of engineering graduates in the world, but that certainly has not translated into much technological innovation here. Rather, we are busy running the sales centers, call centers, and of the rest of the world. That is where our engineering skills end. The goal of our new education should be to create entrepreneurs, innovators, artists, scientists, and thinkers from all over the world, and writers who can establish the foundation of a knowledge based economy rather than the low quality service provider nation that we are turning into. Uh, the fifth point to actually benefit the education system should be taking mediocrity out of the system. Our education system today encourages mediocrity in students, teachers, throughout the system. It is easy to survive in a mediocre student or a mediocre tea. No one shuts down a mediocre college or mediocre school. Hard work is always tough. The path to excellence is fraught with difficulties. Mediocrity is comfortable. Our education system will remain subpar or mediocre until we make it clear that it is not okay to be mediocre. If we want to make excellence, mediocrity cannot be tolerated. Mediocrity has to be discarded as an option. Life of those who are mediocre must be made difficult to so that we could excel. Personalize education once and one size does not fit all. Assembly line education prepares assembly line workers. However, the drift of economic world is away from assembly line production. Indian education system is built on the presumption that if something is good for one kind, it is good for all kinds. Some kids learn faster, some are comparatively slow. Some people are visual learners, others are auditory learners, and some still learn faster from experience. If one massive monolithic education system has to be provided education to everyone, then there is no option but to assume one size fits all. If, however, we can effectively decentralize education, and if the government did not obsessively control what would be the syllabus and what will be the method of instruction, there could be an explosion of new and innovative courses geared towards serving various inches of learners. Take, for example, the market of learning dancing. There are different dance forms that attract students from various tastes. More importantly, different teachers and institutes have developed different ways of teaching dancing. This could never happen if there was a central board of dancing education which enforced strict standards of what will be taught and how things that are to be taught. Now, the final flaw which I think in the education system is that make reservations which are relevant in the past world. So, to make it irrelevant, we have reservation in education society today because education is not available universally. Education has to be rationed, and this is a long-term solution. If we have to emerge as a country built on a knowledge economy driven by a highly educated people, we need to make good education so universally which are universally available to reservation will lose its meaning. There are no reservation in online education because it scales. Today, top universities worldwide are taking various courses online, and today you can easily attend a live class taught by a top professor of Harvard University online if you want, no matter which country you belong to. This is our future. This is the easiest way to beat reservation and make it inconsequential. Okay, thank you. It was a pleasure sharing my ideas with you, and hope this works next.